What up, guys? Yeah, we got another beer review coming at you, and today it is a new Mexican cerveza that I stumbled across. I had never seen this before, so I'm pretty excited to try it out. It's called Rrey, maybe? Rrey. I don't know if in Spanish it's pronounced something differently. It's got the two, of course, it's got the two like dots above the E. Don't think that's Spanish, but it is a Kolsch style ale, so maybe they're just moving the dots off the O from Kolsch and just putting it over the E. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea what to take out of this beer. See if it says where exactly it's made. So Nuevo Leon. So that's what, just south of like Texas, I believe. But anyways, let's crack it open. I'm very intrigued about this. 4.7% ABV and 20 IBUs. But I haven't had a new Mexican beer in a little while, and when I was at the store, I saw there's a couple different ones that I haven't had yet. So the next month or so, I'll be getting into some of those. Now that kind of the winter beers are done, at least for me, I didn't exactly find the one I really wanted to. Oh, it's the second year in a row, man. And whatever, talking about this Mexican beer. So that is there it is. They said they mineralized the water like the water from Kolsch, Germany. But anyways, let's get into the review, get into the smell. Yes, very, very light, very floral. You have this kind of burst of like a lemony grapefruit citrus. Very, very light on the citrus. There's some like flower notes to it. I can't tell you what the exact, just kind of some summer flowers. You know, I'm not exactly. But it has almost more of a Belgian aroma to it. Kind of like if you had an Orville kind of thing. Again, one of my favorite beers. It has kind of that, that bouquet, that floral bouquet aroma going on to it. With it. I think there's subtle maltiness to it. Maybe in the form of a kind of like a dried raisin cranberry thing, you know, right in there, not charred, not burnt, but there's all like even the maltiness has kind of a lighter fruity floral aroma to it. I almost want to say like a shaving of cinnamon too, but I'm not sure if my nose is just trying to, you know, navigate everything. It's like an asteroid field of aroma. I really like it. I'm very intrigued. I think it's one of the better smelling beers I've had in a while. I'm psyched to try it. I'm going to recommend it. The Aroma. Apologize if you hear the dogs running around. It's raining outside, so they're just throwing toys around. But anyways, I'm going to recommend it on Aroma. Let's get into the taste. Not what I was expecting. The taste almost doesn't match the beer. It doesn't have that kind of florally citrus thing going on. The very first just taste I got out of it was it's very minimal taste-wise on the tip of your tongue. It almost just kind of passed through like that, you know? Like you wandered into some place that you weren't supposed to, but you didn't even realize it because there was no gate. You just kind of moved through it. That's what that first kind of tasting was. Like, very clean, very, not watery, but just, it kind of just moved in. And then in the back end, I got some of that, excuse me, some of that maltiness. It still doesn't have that kind of, it doesn't have the charred, burnt, toasted kind of maltiness. That part is, I think, similar to the aroma that I was picking up. It's kind of a bit of a fruitiness to it. Maybe like very dried cranberry. There might be a little bit of a date kind of thing going on in there. It's not overpowering. It's not that very doughy kind of or burnt dough maltiness to it. And there is a bit of maybe a very subtle hint of like a grapefruit, at least that that bitter element of grapefruit. I think it's probably kind of in there. Not necessarily with the juice wise. I think it's almost if you took maybe it's kind of like if you had like a can of sparkling grapefruit flavored water. You have a bit of that kind of bitterness aspect to it, and maybe a dab of grapefruit essence, but there's not a very strong like fruitiness to it. That's kind of what I'm getting at the front end of this thing. And you have kind of that bit to it when you drink it. Don't get me wrong, I'm very much enjoying the beer. It didn't quite match up what I was picturing in my head after smelling it. But it's still a nice tasting beer. It's got a very like dryness to it. You know, it almost tastes like there should be a lot more juicy citrus kind of things going on. But it doesn't really have that. You know, it's got the grapefruit bitterness, but not really so much of the juice part. It's got that kind of dried cranberry datey thing. Again, kind of bitter, not super juicy. So the subtle bitter notes across the board kind of prevent it from being very. I don't know. It gives it more of a kind of a dry champagne-y aspect to it. But I like it. Again, it's not what I was initially expecting after the aroma, but I am enjoying it. I think it's nice. It's crisp. It's clean tasting. There's no funk going on. There's no like wet dough or wet corn. None of that. So while I don't think aroma and taste necessarily match up, at least in my mind, the taste is still good. So I'm going to recommend it on taste. Dogs have like these, like, looks like a ham or looks like a chicken. So you just see like ham bones flying around. All right, next category is value for price. Now this is an artisan. I shouldn't do quotation mark. I'm assuming it's probably more artisan than a lot of the artisan beers we get in the United States now. I like what's happening with the micro artisanal beer scene in Mexico. I feel like they are kind of at where the United States was, maybe 15 years ago. In that there's a lot of experimenting with more traditional Belgian, German style, that kind of things. Now it's very much America's kind of dug its own kind of niche thing with like a lot of the IPAs and a lot of the sour kind of stuff. They haven't really done that in Mexico. And so if you are a fan of what some of the more Belgian German style beers of that the United States used to be making at the micro level, I think you're going to like what's starting to transpire with the Mexican beer scene. What are you eating? Just making sure the dog's not chewing on something that's gonna just explode the house. Sorry, but so the beer is going to cost more than your average Mexican beer. You know, it's going to cost way more than, you know, you go and you get your Tecate or your Corona or, you know, whatever. But it's not that much different from your standard just kind of micro beer here in the States. And I feel like this, for me, this tastes a lot better than many of the micros that I've had as of late. I think this is the taste that I just kind of personally like. Like, nothing against a lot of the, you know, the waves of micros that are coming out now. I have always kind of just liked the Belgian style, a number of the German style beers. Those are like my favorites. And so I kind of connect to this more than a lot of the micro stuff out there right now. So you're going to pay a little more for it. But it's not crazy. It's about on par, yeah, with your regular micro. So I'm going to recommend it on value price. It's more expensive than your standard Mexican beer, but, you know, your standard Mexican beer is pretty inexpensive. So this is kind of just like, you're going to pay a micro price for this. Next category is distinction. How distinct is it? And, I mean, it's a nice tasting beer. You have some, you know, you do have a bit of the floral elements to it. There is that kind of maltiness to it. The maltiness is getting a little more pronounced as I'm going through it. I think I've kind of just become accustomed to the other bittery elements. Now it's just focusing more on the maltiness, but that's not overpowering. It's just a clean, it's a nice beer to drink. I can't really compare it to any other Mexican beers that I've had that I can think of, at least off the top of my head. Probably because Mexican micros or artisanal beers are few and far between that I have access to. The ones that are like making the push in the United States. I don't have many of those. I think it's a little different from the average Kolsch beer that I've had too. I can't say I drink a ton of those. That's not the first German style beer that I go for, but it is a little different from that too. I think it's just a nice overall beer that can probably transcend a few different categories. So I'm going to recommend it on distinction. Drinkability, as I was saying, it's a very nice beer to drink. It's not super heavy. It's clean. It's got a lot of different flavors going on, so you don't just drink it and get bored with it right away. Which you can get with some light, you know, especially some lighter beers. You know, you drink it, you're like, all right, I get it. You know, which is fine sometimes. Other times you want something that kind of interests your taste buds throughout the entire beer. So, yeah, I'm gonna recommend it on drinkability. It's very well done. It's nice to drink. I'm definitely enjoying it. And last category is would I buy it again? And you know what? I think I would. I'd have no problems getting this again. You would drink this, you would never guess it was a Mexican beer. That's just, I mean, we're so ingrained with what a Mexican beer is that we're not used to seeing the more artisanal things. I mean, even the label, if you take off the, you know, product of Mexico stripe on it, you're not going to assume that this is a Mexican beer. I mean, nothing about it screams that. Of course, you know, other than it being written in Spanish. But, yeah, I would totally get it. I mean, everything about it I very definitely enjoyed. So if you come across this, definitely give it a whirl. I do not know what the distribution is. Imported by Quest Beverages in St. Louis, Missouri. So I would assume it's probably it got decent distribution. But I don't know. Yeah, it does say Del Norte, so I'm assuming, yeah, it's artisanal beer made in the northern part of Mexico. But, yeah, so I'm going to recommend it for that. And because I recommended it for all the categories, that means it does get the official Two Dudes stamp of approval. So, yeah, definitely give this a shot. There's everything about it. I like it. The beer is nice. I like the labeling. I keep on touching it because it's got like that like satin kind of finish. It very much feels like a German or Belgian style beer. I mean, the packaging looks like it. I'm sure they did that on purpose. But yeah, they don't give too much other. I mean, they give you some basic ingredients listing. They use German Pilsner malt, Holoterra hops. I'm sure I said that wrong. I don't know what kind of hops that is. I mean, because everything you see nowadays is, what is it, Chinook, and I don't know. It's all kind of the grapefruity, bitter IPA hops. That's like the thing. But yeah, they don't give too much information about it. But yeah, give this a try if you stumble across it. It's definitely worth a couple bucks to pay for it. But anyways, for myself and for Rrey, I just think of Star Wars now. But yeah, so for myself and for Rrey Mexican artisanal beer, take it easy.